What's up, everybody? Well, I got another gameplay video for you guys today, and today we are going to do Star Wars Jedi Survivor again, but this time we're actually gonna get to play the game. Turns out I was right with one of my guesses. It turned out I played it on too many computers. So even though it's supposed to give you 5, it must have thought the laptop was 2 since I played on 2 different monitors or something. I don't know, that's the only thing I can think of. But anyway, I already got a bunch of gameplay footage before I made the intro this time. I normally go in order. Not that I have to, it just feels right to do that. But this time I already got all the footage because I was like, I ain't even exiting out of this bitch. Not even taking any chances. I'm gonna freaking get my footage and I can get the camera recorded gameplay later. But before we get into the game, let's quickly go over the specs of this thing. So we have a 13900KF, we have a RTX 4090 MSI Gaming Trio, we have an Asus Z790 Gaming E motherboard with 32 gigs of 6600 MHz DDR5, which I have tuned, fine-tuned, which definitely gives you a huge uptick in smoothness and 0% lows and whatnot. Then we've got a custom loop cooling the CPU, which has an EK Velocity 2 block on the CPU. Then we got a 420mm radiator with some Noctua industrial fans on it. Then powering the whole ordeal is an EVGA 1600 watt platinum PSU. And then finally, this is pretty much the thing everyone stares at as they game. For a monitor, we have an LG C1 48-inch TV. Now it's got everything a gamer would want. You got G-Sync, you got FreeSync, so you're not limited with your GPU choices. You've got HDR, and it's 120 Hz. So I mean, this thing is pretty much an epic gaming monitor as far as 4K displays go. There are some that have high refresh rates, but I mean, in most demanding titles, you're not gonna get anywhere near that. I struggled to even hit 120 with a 4090 in a lot of titles, with decent-ish graphics settings anyway. And forget maxing games out. I always laugh when I see people say, oh man, 4090 will play everything at like 200 FPS 4K maxed out. And I'm like, all right, well, either you play old games or you do not have that card. Because I've got that shit. I've been testing games on it for like almost a year now. Yeah, that ain't happening in every game, buddy. It's just not happening. Just being a realist here. It should, with its price of $1,600 fucking dollars. The dang thing should frickin' pleasure you for $1,600. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump in and have a look at those settings. And then we'll get a little camera gameplay, which I'm gonna have to go get right now, actually, since we did this a little different than I normally do. So let's go hop on into the game. Well, I'm glad we got the game working, but we're gonna start off just like we did on the secondary computer here. We're gonna only at 4K, so we're gonna do epic with ray tracing on. No FSR yet, we'll do that at the end. And ray tracing probably will not let us get 60 FPS, unfortunately. But hey, let's go and find out for ourselves and hop into the game right now. Here we are in the beginning of the game. And this is the part where it always dropped under 60 almost everything. At least when you're on epic and ray tracing, but let's see if it can stay above 60 everywhere else, because like I said in the other videos, I don't, oh, well, there we go, 58, 57, so no, it can't, but I was gonna say, I don't count that first area much. I think that's just the game, like, crashing everything in and everything else, but going up the stairs was another hard spot. At least when you got the graphics turned up really high, that is. So we've definitely dropped under 60 from times to times, which is absolutely silly for a $1,600 graphics card, but hey, this game is still not the most optimized thing. Because let's be honest, it does not look that impressive graphics-wise. But hey, it is what it is. At least it's running a million times better than it did when it launched, so. Anyway, let's move on to the battle. Now for the battle. So let's get to battling. Huh? They're trying to get me, but they just can't. Wow, you guys picked a really bad spot to land. You can't show your back to a Jedi. Oh, I thought he was gonna fall off. Oh well. There we go. We finished it now. So we definitely dropped under 60 at some parts. Most of the time it stays above, but let's go through all the settings. So now we're going to do just epic without ray tracing, and we'll see how that does. So of course, let's go through these settings just real fast. No FSR yet, that will be at the very end. And we won't bother doing ray tracing either, because we already saw that at the beginning. I don't think this is a game where it really matters. I would just turn that shit off. But anyway, let's go and move into the game. Now we toned it down to just epic with no ray tracing. So let's see if it can stay above 60 without the ray tracing. Probably can. But only one way to find out. We'll just go through our little trail here. We dropped to 72 going up the stairs this time, but that's not under 60, so we're still good. And don't worry, guys. Even if we stay over 60, we're still going to go through all the settings. We've already gone this far. It'd be silly to stop now. Even though most people probably are not going to want to play out lower settings on this thing, on a computer like this anyway, but I just like being thorough. It's fun. Though some people might see it as a complete waste of time. But that's okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinions. As long as people see how the game runs, and as long as I'm having fun, that's all that really matters. So, we're pretty much at the end of our little walkthrough here, so let's go ahead and mosey on over to the battle. Let's do epic battle now. Here you should see moving below me. That's me slaying all of your men, like easy as pie. I think that guy needs a hand. Anybody want to give him a hand? Whoop, nope, I'm over here now. Damn, get owned. There's just a pile of corpses on the fucking ground. But anyway, though, not so fast, we can now go ahead and we can move on to the next graphics setting. We're going to put the preset onto high now. See how that does. That should give us some pretty dang good FPS. Although it could be also very similar to what it got on Epic. Who knows? But there's only one way to find out. Let's get to the bottom of the settings here. And now, let's go hop into the game and see for ourselves. Here we go on high now.
Sidestepping Inquisitors, one-upping Vader. The guy's playing a dangerous game.
A dangerous game indeed.
This district is locked down. Senator's orders.
This way. We're taking a detour.
These streets are now closed by order of Senator Sagan. Leave immediately, or you will be arrested.
Like rats in a maze.
Or leave immediately and be arrested. No matter what, you will be arrested. And get your ass kicked as well. That just seems to be what goes on here. I mean, they're beating the shit out of this guy in the fucking alleyway.
We're citizens. You can't treat us like this.
Yeah? Says who?
Anyway, moving on to battle. The Battle of High has begun.
Come and get me.
Looks like they're trying, but they're not going to succeed.
That all you got, Senator?
They might hit me once or twice here and there, but for the most part, I kick their ass. I don't want to. All right, and that made pretty quick work from that time. So, now, let's go tone it down on to medium, see how that does, and looks. There we go, we've turned it down to the medium quality preset now. So let's just cruise through here and we'll see what's what. And that's the bottom. So, to the game. We got ourselves some medium gameplay now.
Taking our prisoner and shoving us into a sky lane.
He needs to keep this quiet. That's right.
Sidestepping Inquisitors, one-upping Vader. The guy's playing a dangerous game.
So are we.
Everybody's playing a dangerous game. All the time.
This way. We're taking a detour.
By officer of Senator Sajan, or you will be murdered.
Like rats in a maze. I don't like it.
Stick with the plan. We'll be fine.
As long as I get paid.
No, you don't. You have the right to get owned in the face.
We're citizens. You can't treat us like
But anyway, now we will do battle. Now the battle of medium has begun.
Come and get me. That all you got, Senator? Come on out. We'll talk.
Yeah, we just want to talk. I just want to cut him. But anyway. Let's finish just slicing up these guys. I'll make you all right, and then they all die. That was pretty awesome. Anyway, though, why don't we now go tone it down to low, which I don't think anybody with a system like this would ever really do, but hey, there might be some people out there, so hey, let's go and be thorough. We got the game on low now, so let's just cruise through the settings just real quick. And then after low, we'll do a little bit of some FSR, since we already did ray tracing at the beginning. But anyway, now, let's get into the game. Now here we go with a little low.
Sure. But what's to stop
It definitely looks pretty shitty, that's for sure. You can't even, like, read that sign. Not like I could read Alien anyway, but it just looks like a blurry mess.
One-upping Vader? The guy's playing a dangerous game.
But you do get some FPS jump. We were only getting 80, 90 FPS up those stairs. That time we got, like, a lot higher. And here even we're getting 90s instead of 70s and 80s.
Like rats in a maze. I don't like it.
Stick with the plan. We'll be fine.
As long as I get paid.
I have rights, you know.
Leave on your own or we take you in.
No! We're citizens. You can't treat us like
So,
this.
now, to battle. Here is the battle on low. And it has no trouble at all staying above 60. But it didn't, just from turning ray tracing off, so. And ray tracing doesn't even look that good in this game anyway, but.
That all you got, Senator?
In AMD sponsored titles, ray tracing generally isn't that impressive because AMD's still not that great at it. They're getting better though. I'm curious if they'll ever beat NVIDIA at their own game though. We'll have to wait and see.
Not so fast, Senator.
Yeah, not so fast, Senator. Anyway, though, now let's go do a little FSR. So, now we're gonna do FSR, and I'm just gonna turn it all on the Epic. But we're gonna leave ray tracing off, because in this game it doesn't look that great or different anyway. It just kills your FPS and makes it stutter way worse, so why even have it on, even with FSR? So we're just gonna leave that off, just like we did on the secondary computer. And we will start with Quality, FSR 2. So, let's get into the game. Well, now here we go with some FSR on Quality. The rest of the game is on Epic, we just don't have any ray tracing on.
That's right.
Sidestepping Inquisitors, one-upping Vader.
Now, it definitely looks a lot softer to me in my eye, but a lot of people probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference. But you can definitely tell a 135 FPS versus getting like 80, 90, like we were getting on Epic there. Or no, I think it was even 70s to 80s there, so yeah. You definitely notice the FPS uptick. But I always still maintain the fact that FSR and DLSS should be more handled to like the lower end GPUs, or if you plan on keeping yours for a long time, then you can still play games a little later, but still have stuff on Epic and whatnot. But what irritates me is when you have to have computers like mine have it on just to freaking do it and get good FPS. Anyway, let's go get on to that battle now. The FSR Quality Battle has commenced. So let's just see what it can do. Still got a little stutter here and there where the ship goes up, but we're still well above the 60 FPS mark, which is basically on my desktops, my bare minimum. Now on handhelds, my bare minimum is 30. I don't like 30, that's not telling me I accept 30, I just accept that on handhelds where battery is a limitation and graphics horsepower is a limitation. If you want to play games at all, half the time you're going to have to deal with 30. It's just a fact of life. Unless you're going to play super, super old school games or indie titles. That's where you can usually get your 60 FPS plus. Anyway, though, we've kicked their ass thoroughly. So, why don't we go ahead and tone it down to balanced FSR now and see how that does. Alright guys, we've toned it down to FSR balanced now from quality. I almost said quality again, but we already did that. See, now we're on balanced, so everything else is exactly the same though. Well, I never would invalidate the test by changing shit on you. But I like proving it. Anyway, here is some balanced FSR action now, and shit, at the beginning here we're getting like FPS or first-person shooter levels of FPS now. But the game is definitely looking softer and more garbagey. Though I will say, it's less noticeable the higher resolution you're at.
This way. We're taking a detour.
Like once we get to ultra performance, you guys will see what I mean. That generally looks like absolute poop. But when you have 4K as the base, it's not as bad. It still looks pretty bad, don't get me wrong, but it's not as bad as it is on, like, say, a Steam Deck or the Ally, or even my laptop at 1080p. It takes 1440p as a base to start looking like an absolute dookie. Shitty poo-poo-fugzilla cakes. But anyway, moving on to the battle now. Alright, a battle of the FSR Balanced has commenced. So let's see how it do. Alright, he didn't get to kill him for the first slice like I like to, but it is what it is. We got him at least.
That all you got, Senator? Come on out. We'll talk.
Yeah, I'm always a little surprised they didn't throw some ranged people at me. Just to show you what to do about them. But they probably do that a little later. Probably don't want to overload people. Well, too bad. You should have thought about that before jumping down here. But in any case, now why don't we go ahead and try a little FSR Performance. We've got the game down to FSR Performance now, but we're leaving everything else on Epic with no ray tracing, just like we did. But as you can see right there, FSR Super Resolution to Performance. So, now let's finish getting to the bottom. There we go. And on to the game. Let us now do some FSR 2 Performance now. Getting lots of FPS, but
That's right.
at the cost of some fidelity.
The guy's playing a dangerous game.
So are we.
But since this is 4K base, it doesn't look absolutely atrocious. I wouldn't personally want to play it on this setting, but hey, if somebody wants to have everything on Epic and get 160 FPS, well, shit. They can. If they have a setup like this, anyway. But me, unless I absolutely have to, I do not use DLSS or FSR in games. Or frame gen. But if I absolutely have to, I will. Like, I had to turn frame gen on in that new Crisis update if you want any of those fancy new path tracing, ray tracing stuff, and you still drop under 60 from time to time. It's heavy. That's going to be the next Crisis. Anyway, though, moving on. We got some Performance FSR battle time now. So, commence battle.
Come and get me. That all you got, Senator? Come on out.
Come on. Yeah, you get down here and fight me, little bitch. Oh, that's another big pile of corpses. I can tell I'm gonna have some fun with this game.
Not so fast, Senator.
But anyway, now let's go move on to the last FSR. Alright, last FSR is Ultra Performance. So, let's finish going down the settings. Half of these ones at the bottom here don't even matter really, but still. There we go, reach the bottom, game time. Alright, and here we are on FSR Ultra Performance. As you can see, it looks pretty bad, but nowhere near as bad as it usually does. But that's just because of the 4K base resolution. I believe they also say never use this. In some games, they don't always tell you this, but it's my understanding that this is only supposed to be for 8K resolution. And pretty soon I'll have an 8K TV, so we'll be able to throw a new resolution into the mix.
Like rats in a maze. I don't like it.
Stick with the plan. You'll be fine.
As long as I get paid.
But this C1 isn't going anywhere. That's just going to be the TV for normal watching and whatnot. But we can still use it for videos now, can't we?
We're citizens. You can't treat us like
Anyway, though, let's go move on to the battle. And here we go. Ultra Performance battle commencing now.
Come and get me. That all you got, Senator? Come on out. We'll talk.
Oop, I almost jumped off the fucking place. That wouldn't have been any good. Oh, he's mad. Oh, too bad. And you done. Little stutter as usual, but no drops under 60. And with that, now why don't we go ahead and get to my settings now. Now here we go with my settings. So, let's cruise through them real fast. Not using any ray tracing or FSR. No motion blur or film grain, don't like that stuff. And there we are. So, now let's go and get into the game. Here we go with my settings now.
Taking our prisoner and shoving us into a sky lane.
It needs to keep this quiet. That's right.
Besides
That's right.
Inquisitors, one-upping Vader. The guy's playing a dangerous game.
So are we.
The most dangerous game of them all. Oh, it looks like we're gonna have to take a shortcut.
We're taking a detour.
Or a detour as they call it. Ho ho!
Like rats in a maze. I don't like it.
Stick with the plan. You'll be fine.
As long as I get paid.
It's closed. Move along, motherfuckers.
We're citizens.
And apparently kick the shit out of you while they're at it. To battle! Now for a battle with my settings here. See if it stays above 60 the whole time, which it should.
Come and get me. That all you got, Senator? Come on out. We'll talk.
Aw, they got me one time. Motherfucker, take that. And then you go off. There we go. And we have defeated them, no problem. Got hit once, but still. Every once in a while I'll get hit.
Fast, Senator. Hit it, BD.
But in any case, why don't we now go ahead and move along to camera. Alright guys, let's get ourselves some camera recorded gameplay now. With my settings, of course. And holy shit, when you've got light on the frickin' TV, this thing is full of dust and cat hair. I don't even notice that when I'm just gaming. Really need to clean that off. It's that Misty. She may be cute, but her fur goes everywhere. It's okay, Misty. I forgive you. Though it is probably about time for a dusting, too, of everything. Oh, there's a big old stutter. But those still happen.
You can't treat us like this.
Kind of funny though, it never dropped that low before when I went and did my settings last time, but this game still got random stutters. It's pretty smooth most of the time, but as you will see, it does have those little stutters like that. Though they generally don't drop down to the 30s like that. That's the first time that's ever happened, so just expect random shit like that could happen later in the game too. And probably could happen no matter what settings you're running as well. Just throwing that out there. And holy shit, this game's taking 17 gigs of RAM. So yeah, if you want to play this thing with top quality settings, I guess 16 ain't cutting it. And it's using 10 gigs of VRAM. Well, who knows if it's actually using it or allocating it. Wish there was a way you could tell that, but I looked in MSI Afterburner and I don't see it in there. So unless there's some other application that does it, although I'm so used to Afterburner, I just like using Afterburner. Though people have told me there is a way to use it with hardware info, but every time I try to do that, even while following freaking tutorials, it always ends up with like the shit in the middle of my screen and making it look really unprofessional. So I was like, nope, F all that. I'm just gonna use MSI Afterburner. I think that's the reason why I don't get my whatchamacallits. What my gigahertz says on my CPU cores. But then I've seen other people like, I can't remember anyway, I can't really think of his name off the top of my head, but just any other YouTubers I've seen have 13900Ks and 12900Ks and shit, and they've got their clock speeds.
How'd you make the arrest? When the senator gets a hold of you, you'll wish you were dead.
Alright.
Always nice to meet a fan.
Alright, we don't need to listen to this whole rigmarole. Let's just get into ass kicking. And goodbye. And slicey slice. Slice and dice and chop them up. Do do do. Choppy choppy. Double force.
Not so fast, Senator. Hit it, BD. Now it comes to us. It's coming a little hot. Oh, really hot.
Hold on. Shit's about to hit the fucking fan.
It's okay. These things happen. Gotta get to that yacht.
Well, let's get to that yacht then.
It was a close one, buddy.
Well, we won't be getting there in this video, but jump up there, you. Certainly is no Assassin's Creed with its jumping mechanic, that's for sure. Though it is a step above Gollum, so there's that, but I guess that doesn't really take a lot to be a step above that pile of manure. Used to make fun of Forspoken and Redfall and all that shit, but man, and this game, but all those games are just like really awesome. And I can pretty much just stand here and in classic Star Wars function, they cannot hit me. They can't hit this broadside of a barn to save their lives, so I can pretty much just sit here and talk to you guys for like 30 minutes and they'd never be able to hit me. Until you get over to the predetermined spot, then all of a sudden, they're good at shooting. And then we end up here. Which is where I ended the video on all the other systems, so we will do the same here. So, why don't we now go wrap this video on up? Well, alright everybody, that is a wrap for Star Wars Jedi Survivor on the main computer, and I'm glad we actually got it working. I was starting to think, oh shit, I'm not gonna be able to play that game on my badass computer, that'd be lame, but at least I could play it on the laptop or the secondary computer, that wouldn't be the end of the world. The only two places it wasn't really super enjoyable, at least for me personally, was on the Steam Deck and the Ally. Neither one of those could really get you above 30 all the time. They were dropping under 30 quite frequently. But for a lot of people, that's fine. And at least I showed you guys how it runs on those. So that is my job on this channel for the most part. But in any case, that is all I got for you guys for this particular video. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.